Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Lucky Luch here. Welcome back to my room and my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about my least favorite movies of 2025. I feel like I did a really good job of avoiding the crap. I know Netflix pumps a bunch of movies out every year. I know Amazon pumps out a bunch of stuff every year. I kind of avoid those because usually those movies aren't great to begin with. Obviously, if something sticks out and is an absolute gem, I'll for sure watch it. For the most part, most of the movies on this list range somewhere between like the bad, the okay, maybe bordering on good. These are movies I just wouldn't recommend. If people were to ask me like, oh, like, should I see this? I'm going to be like, don't waste your time. Watch something else, or watch the original one, or watch the first one. That's what I mean by least favorite movies. I don't think all these movies are bad. I just didn't really enjoy them. All right, whatever, man. Let's get on with the list. Also, spoilers. Okay, so at spots 7 and 6, I'm putting these in the same category of an unnecessary sequel. You tried to do it bigger and better and awesomer, and you didn't. You didn't. You're better off just seeing the first installments of both of these. I'm going to go with Nobody 2 at 7 and The Accountant 2 at 6. I know, as a bro that loves action movies and bro movies and divorced dad genre movies, it's crazy that I'm putting these here, but I have my reasonings. Just hear me out. My issue with Nobody 2 is that it just gets too wacky, wild, and crazy. I feel like the first movie was so unique, taking the concept of like a John Wick but applying it to an older guy that like has already lived his life, and eventually like gets his dad involved and all that stuff. Whereas the second movie takes that to another level, and it's like the whole family's involved. You got Sharon Stone. I was so happy to see her in this movie, but like, she's kind of a goofy ass villain. You have like another side character played by insert name because I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's just bloated, and some of the action scenes towards the end are just a little bit goofy. It's just doing way too much. And I feel like a similarity with both of these movies is the first movie was either good or very good, solid concept, unique within the genre, and I feel like it's hard to repeat that. I don't think either of these movies do a good job making you really want to be invested in The Accountant, making you want to be invested in the Nobody. Like, I would have rather these both just be one-offs. And with The Accountant 2, I just thought some parts of the movie were kind of dumb. The whole like, oh, this person suffered from amnesia and then they became like a super spy. At least the actress was really hot and some of the action was good. Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck clearly have very good chemistry. I'd rather them just work on a different project and have it be Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck hanging out than have it revolve around this series where like this character with special needs is doing like extraordinary things. If that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I really came away from both of these movies just being kind of unimpressed. An okay theater experience, but just kind of wishing like, I don't want to go back and see these movies again. I just rather see The Accountant 1 and not be a 2. And I just rather Nobody just be a standalone dad rock action anthem. So yeah, those are spots 7 and 6. And I'm sorry I have to put those there. Look, they're okay movies. I don't know if they're really worth your time. I didn't enjoy them that much. So at number 5, I have Relay. Now, I have a video on this with a few other movies. I did like a whole video about thrillers. I'll link it somewhere up here. And what I like about Relay is for 2/3 of the movie, you're getting an old school thriller. Something from like the 70s mixed with like the 90s. You know what I'm talking about? Like those old school thrillers. And it's smart. It's sophisticated. It's intense. It does a really good job of bringing you into the world. And yo, I remember sitting out at the theater and I'm literally on the edge of my seat because the movie was just so intense and so smart and just did such a good job with everything it provided. Solid performances, intense moments, and it seemed like there were well-developed characters. And then the third act, this whole movie fell apart. There is a reveal of who's been pulling the strings all along. And even leading up to that part, there was just a few moments where I kind of felt like our protagonist, played by Riz Ahmed, his character slowly starts crumbling and making decisions that are kind of dumb. And then it leads to the reveal, which it didn't land and it kind of took me out of the movie. And then there's another reveal within like the last 5 to 10 minutes before the movie ends. And I just thought it was stupid. I thought it was kind of corny. It sucks because I really liked the first like 2/3 of this movie. Like I said before, but this is the first time a good movie has pissed me off so much that it just turned into a meh movie. Like I thought this was gonna be one of those gems where like I have hit in the pocket. Somebody's like, let's watch a movie, and I'm like, yo, we gotta check out fucking Relay. And I can't do that. I can't do that with this movie, and I really, really, really wanted to. I feel bad crapping on movies. I'm not gonna lie. Most of the movies this year were pretty damn good, right? There's like one battle after another and Sinners, which are absolutely fantastic. And then you have a lot of movies that fall in between like great and very good. And then a bunch of stuff that's okay. And then like maybe some like bad sprinkled in at the bottom. But I feel like 2025 was a really good year for movies. And a lot of the movies were like between like 2.5 and 3.5 stars. Not too bad. At number 4, we got Eden. I'll link it again. I did talk about this movie earlier this year, but I think the problem here is that editing Luch here. What I wanted to say is that this movie has a stacked cast, but they don't get used to their fullest potential. I also think Ron Howard is not the person to direct a movie like this. This like grossly underperformed at the box office, so that doesn't make it any better. Vanessa Kirby was underutilized. She's just kind of like there. She just had like, some good screen time, but not enough where I feel like her presence was felt nor significant. Jude Law did his thing, so shout out to him. Sydney Sweeney's character takes over, and that's another thing, like the performance with her, Daniel Bruhl, their accents sound all over the place. I believe they were playing a German couple, and there's times where they sound German. There's times where they sound Swedish. There's times where they sound Russian. I'm like, what the heck is going on with the accents? 2, you have a bunch of beautiful people, a beautiful setting, and the movie is pretty. But when the darkness starts to take over, when the characters kind of start their descent to the madness or backstabbing each other, there wasn't a tonal shift, and the actual tones of the movie didn't change. So I didn't feel like we were getting sucked into the dark side of what was happening here. It just kind of felt like, oh yeah, these bad things are happening in this beautiful setting. And I couldn't really get into the movie. Overall, I felt it was quite boring. And that's why I don't think Ron Howard was the person to do this. Because, 1, this movie would have been dope as a horror movie. 2, they needed somebody who was like willing to go there. Like this movie does have some graphic scenes. It felt like they were showing you enough of it. But I kind of wanted more from the darkness that this movie had to offer. It doesn't go there. There's parts of it that kind of lag. Yeah, there's some scenes with Ana de Armas that are like kind of hot and steamy. Okay, that's not enough here. You have a good Jude Law performance, but that's not enough here. And I wouldn't want to recommend this to somebody and have them watch it because I feel like they're going to be bored. There's just a beautiful people, beautiful setting, and for some reason a very interesting story doesn't seem very interesting anymore. All right, y'all, we're getting to the top 3. I feel like I'm going to wind up like popping off on one of these movies, and this is going to go from like a 10-minute video to like a 25-minute video. At number 3, we have Die, My Love, directed by Lynn Ramsey, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Rob Pattinson. Now, I thought this was going to be, it's a movie like Begonia, 2 professionals going bar for bar, line for line, and I could not wait. I was not familiar with the literary work that inspired this movie. Obviously, I'm familiar with Jennifer Lawrence and Rob Pattinson. I'm a little familiar with Lynn Ramsey's work. I was a big fan of You Were Never Really Here, starring Joaquin Phoenix. So I thought I was, going to be prepped for like a slow burn, bar for bar, 2 professional performance. And that's not really what we got. Like I had a friend say something to me along the lines of, yo, this movie, but Jennifer Lawrence is so good. And I'm like, great. Let's go watch her be good in a good movie. And I understand that this movie is about postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. I'd argue that One Battle After Another, that gently touches on this subject, did a better job than this whole movie did. And I knew from the jump, after I found some details out from the book, that I had reasons to hate on this movie. So, our 2 characters, Grace, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and Jackson, played by Rob Pattinson. She is a writer. He is a musician. They move from New York City out to the country after something happens to Jackson's uncle and they inherit his house. The only problem is that the movie starts with them moving into the house. You don't really know much about their backstory. And I don't even feel like they're a couple in love. They just seem like a young couple that's having a lot of sex, not like a young couple that's like really intimate and like really knows each other in and out. So I didn't like that from the jump because you got no backstory. You just kind of jumped into the situation. Like they're already moving into the house and it's like, damn, yes, Jackson does explain, hey, I could have a drum set in this room. Ooh, we could set up this room as an office for your writing. But throughout the movie, like, you don't see Jackson on tour. You don't see that he's bringing writing music or anything. You don't hear about Jennifer Lawrence either having a career or being a writer or anything. So all this stuff just kind of feels random. Jennifer Lawrence does a great job of playing crazy, but she doesn't descend into crazy. It just seems like there's 10 minutes of the movie and then she's acting nuts. Whereas it would have been nice to like show their relationship decay over time, show some family problems over time. And so that way, when Grace starts acting out of pocket, it all makes sense. For this, it just kind of seemed like they move into the house and she's gone nuts after, struggling with this pregnancy. And then they have like a cheating part, right? So you find out that Jackson's been cheating on Grace while he's on the road. And so Grace decides to cheat on him. And they throw in Lakeith Stanfield. They're like, you know what? Let's throw in some diversity and have a black guy in this movie. And you don't see his face. I think you see his face once in this movie for a couple seconds. He barely has any lines that I can remember. And it's just like, yeah, let's throw this awesome actor in this movie, not have him say anything, and just be a token black guy. That's how I saw it, which I was not vibing with. Jennifer Lawrence is doing her damn thing, but it's not enough here. Because you have Rob Pattinson in The Wings. He's kind of wasted. You could have just had some regular dude playing a dude. Nick Nolte plays his grandfather who's like kind of on his last legs of life and going a little crazy. He's surprisingly charming. He plays grandpa for a few minutes and then you never see him again. Great. As an audience member, you could see the cyclical nature of Grace's out-of-pocket behavior. You kind of know when it's going to strike, right? The movie is setting it up. You're telling me they have a kid in a house and a family, and none of the family members are like, hey, something's up over here. They're just like letting this stuff slide. Really, really dumb. I'm sorry. And after all this, right, the movie's kind of like coming to an end. You just have Jennifer Lawrence or Grace setting the forest on fire and kind of dancing in it. And it's like, I don't know, this is a metaphor for her pregnancy and her family life. Is Die My Love about like her love for writing dying, her love for being a mother dying, her love for her, you're like, what was the point of all of this? I think this took a swing at some really heavy topics and missed. And with missing those punches, got knocked out by the fucking ops, yo. Yeah, I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence sticks out and she's awesome, but everything else is just not great. It doesn't make sense. Look, before I end this section of the video, I'll tell y'all this. About 45 minutes in, 2 people walked out, and I should have been number 3. And that should tell you enough. Fitting enough? This movie is at number 3. So at number 2, we have Until Dawn. This was just another movie that I just kind of watched in theaters and I was just like, okay. Okay, this is a movie. This is a horror movie. I'm not going to remember this. This is not very memorable. I think the only thing that is memorable about this movie is Odessa Azion. Wow, she's a really pretty girl, has a very striking appearance. She has big curly hair, really piercing blue eyes. Like, yeah, besides that, like, nobody really stuck out. Horror movie kids doing horror movie things. Oh no, there's noise coming from that barn. Don't go in the barn. And then they go in the barn and then one of them gets off. And it does have a cool time loop thing. They tried to make it unique. But there's also a part of this movie where you see a lot of things that happened to them over the course of their respawning through a phone. And I didn't like that. It rubbed me the wrong way. If you're going to show me a montage of things happening, just show us the montage. Don't show us the montage through a phone. So I didn't like that. And then I took a glimpse at Reddit and, other places where people rate films, and people were saying that this didn't do the game justice at all. I guess in the game you can't die or respawn. these characters keep on dying and respawning. So I thought that was kind of dumb. If anything, just change the title and say that this was inspired by the game or something like that. So the fact that the game community came out and said, yo, like we don't really mess with this movie, I'm gonna side with them because I didn't really mess with this movie. And I think that's what makes ranking movies so hard, especially like movies that you didn't enjoy, or making a list like this. Sometimes they're not bad because they're crap. Sometimes they're just not memorable. Sometimes nothing sticks out and they seem kind of generic. At the end of the day, this tries to be unique, but it's just like another horror movie with some kids. Silly. And at number 1, because this movie actually sucked, was Keeper. They gotta stop giving Osgood Perkins cool ads and cool previews. I don't think anybody should see this. There was elements of things that could have been good, but ultimately just fall really flat. This movie does some things, man. Yep. This was definitely a movie of all time. So it's one of those, a couple goes away from the city for a romantic getaway. That's never a good thing in a horror movie. And so then you kind of find out that the boyfriend made a deal with some mystic being to keep them alive and he'd be granted eternal life. So he feeds them people. Damn, I probably got to talk about this for 2 to 3 more minutes. He feeds her this cake that's supposed to sedate her. She eats the whole cake, but it's like, who's making the cake? And then you kind of get revealed to these things that gave everlasting life to the dude. Are they making the cake? Where did they come from? Oh, this new girl looks like their mother, so they turn on the guy. But now the girl has the power of eternal life, so somebody still has to get sacrificed. There's some creepy stuff going on, but ultimately this movie's just boring. It has a couple cheap jump scares. There's some creepy moments. But I just kept on asking myself more questions, and usually good movies answer the questions that they set up. This didn't answer any of them. What was this supposed to be, like a woman empowerment movie? Was this supposed to be like, hey, don't mess with the things in the woods, environmental movie? Why was it called Keeper? Why did the preview show 2 different point of views talking about, ooh, I like this person, they're a keeper? And that was not addressed in the movie. I don't know. I really, if you saw this one, please help me make sense. Cause I'm still bewildered. I'm so bewildered by this movie, talking about it again. I forgot everything I was going to say about it. Don't watch Keeper, yo. Please, just save yourself an hour and a half. Go watch a good horror movie. Go watch 28 Days Later. Go watch The Descent. Damn. Okay, y'all. That's today's video. Tell me your least favorite movies of 2025. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I upload every Tuesday. I appreciate you donating your time and being here. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Peace.